Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. Today, we are doubling back. I guess not doubling, it wouldn't even be tripling or quadrupling or pentupling or quintupling or sextupling because I've run so many times on this thing. Probably, I don't know, have I run 20 times? I'm now past 150 miles. Regardless, we're running in this thing today, and I'm going to answer a question that keeps coming up a lot. Should I use the Megablast for my fall marathon? Is the Megablast a viable race shoe? Am I going to be losing out by not going for a carbon shoe for my PR attempt? So that's the question we are answering today. I'm also putting this through a nice VO2 max session. Now, if you are looking for a new shoe, maybe you're looking for a Megablast, you are in the right place. And an even better place would be the Supwell app. So Supwell app is my app, and it's the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace out there. It's the best place. I feel so strongly about this and so confident saying this claim right now. The best place to find Megablasts on a deal. I've seen so many of these come up from people who say, hey, I bought it, it's not exactly what I want, it's great, but I just have something else. Maybe it's not as comfortable as I want in a daily trainer. Maybe the fit isn't right, and I've seen these go up for $150, $160. It's also a great place to find Evo SLs, Superblast, Real Deal Carbon County race shoes, whatever shoe you're looking for. We got it for you on the Supwell app. You can also post if you were looking for a specific shoe and a specific size. You can post on the marketplace and people will hook you up. So if you're looking to save money on running shoes, or you're looking to be part of the best community of hobby joggers, getting active daily, putting in work, stacking mileage while being shoe sickos, get in with us and enjoy today's video. Megablast fresh out of the suitcase, man. Just took these out of the bag. I haven't even unpacked yet from my trip, and I think it's so easy for us to forget sometimes what life is all about because we have things like this, right? The Amazon instant delivery. We have decorative pumpkins on our front porch. We even have fake scary stuff because life isn't scary enough, so we have to manufacture some fear. So we put giant spiders up on our front porch. But this is what life is about that people forget. Life at its core is about survival. It's about making it through. We are animals. Humans are animals. And some people forget that because of the modern creature comforts we have, because we're now debating the merits of aliphatic TPU foam versus supercritical PIBA foam. But man, I don't forget it. I don't forget that life is about survival because I just want to sleep right now. I feel like I'm barely surviving this past month. I've just been making it through, man. I am so tired today. Gosh dang, I was up till 11:30 editing my video and getting it up. I think it was a late post last night. I think it went up at 12:30 or something. Was traveling, and the travel just always takes it out of me. And now I'm back here. But yeah, some periods in life, it is just about survival. My initial plan today was to do a VO2 max booster workout. So I have this marathon scheduled for next Sunday, not this coming up Sunday, but next Sunday. I want to get some faster turnover in, but this has just been the story of my training this past month. I have just been so tired and trying to survive and make it through. Not even because I'm overtraining or anything, but just because I've been traveling so much, and yeah, it's been tough. So I don't know. I don't know what the point of bringing that up was. Oh, I think it was to say that life is about survival and we are animals and sometimes we're just making it through. But pivot. Segue. Having a shoe like the Megablast can help us more than make it through. No, what I wanted to do today was do a real workout in the Megablast because I've done one. And I've done a lot of longer runs and just mileage in the shoe. It's now up past 150 miles. But I want to do a real workout in the shoe because I keep getting this question. Is the Megablast a good race shoe? Should I run a sub 3 attempt in the Megablast? Should I run a sub 4 attempt or a sub 340 attempt in the Megablast? It keeps coming up. And so I don't typically run sessions like today in the Megablast. I'm going to give this VO2 max type workout a shot. I might end up running it slower just because I am so tired. But what I want to do today is go through the gears, get some faster pace, and there's now some sort of a construction situation out here. Can you hear that? Anyway, I run most of my workouts in carbon, so today I'm going to do a faster workout in this thing, compare it to some of the carbon shoes, and give you all an answer on how this compares for speed paces to the carbon shoes, because I felt from the beginning it's nearly as fast, but with this new question coming up, is this a legit sub-3 ratio? Is this a legit sub-340 ratio? I want to come into the workout with that perspective, evaluating it on the merits of speed versus other shoes in the $220, $230 plus bracket with the carbon fiber plate. So with this one, you're not getting the carbon fiber plate, but it still is a relatively stiff platform underfoot. You get this FF Turbo Squared, which is aliphatic TPU. You get a nice chunk of it in the heel. And the reason why a lot of people are considering this for the marathon is because the stability is good. You get a lot of stack underfoot, and it's lightweight for what it is. It's about 250 grams versus a traditional max cushion shoe would be 300 grams. The race shoes are about 220 grams or lower in my size, but they don't have the same stability and width out here in the back. And this really does have excellent stability. It's up there with the Superblast and the MagMax. It's not wobbly at all, and very energetic foam with a race fit on the upper. Now, some people have had an issue with the upper being too tight on the top of their foot. I haven't had that. I've actually found that this upper is comfortable, and now that it's broken in, no issues whatsoever. I ran in this yesterday on the treadmill. I did a short 4-mile progression. I think the average was 6:33 pace across 4 miles just in the hotel gym there, and not bad at all in terms of the feeling of the upper here. It seems that it's stretched out or something, just hasn't been bothering me the last few times. So I would give it a run or 2 or 3 to break in, because that really is the one complaint that I've seen. Oh, the other complaint I've started to see pop up, lace bite. Lace bite is when the laces feel like they are biting the top of your foot. So if it's too tight, for some people, if you have a vein in the wrong area, or if the bone structure on the top of your foot is popping out, you can get lace bite, or just more susceptible to it than others. I haven't had any lace bite here. I would suggest maybe tying the laces slightly less tight. I don't know, man. Are you people just cranking down? You people, you lace bite people, just cranking down the laces as hard as possible? I don't know. No victim blaming here, but I have not had any lace bite. I would try wearing a thicker sock and just tying the laces slightly less tight. I do know some people, though. Some people just tie their shoes so tight, and then they have the floppy laces. It makes me sick, man. It makes me sick. But yeah, those are the main complaints with this. Let me go grab some comparisons. Yeah, days like today, it's like the recovery metrics on the watch. It's telling me my training readiness. Look at this. It's telling me my training readiness is high. 81. I should also charge my watch. It's telling me I have an 81 training readiness. High, well recovered. I don't feel well recovered right now. I feel absolutely trashed. Man. Anyway, also look at this. So all these metrics here on the Garmin. Shout out to Garmin, by the way. I'm Team Garmin, not Team Strava. But all these metrics are green. It says recent stress, not enough data. Do you know why that is? It's because I didn't wear this watch all day yesterday. I was wearing my Hamilton. So this is how they incentivize you or bully you into wearing your running watch all the time. They withhold data so that you feel bad. You say, oh, I don't have all the data I need, so now I'm going to be chained to this watch like a bad dog in the junkyard. I guess a dog in a junkyard would not be chained, right? Those are the dogs that just go free. Anyway, some comparisons and alternatives for the marathon. So a lot of people have used this shoe right here, Superblast 2, as their marathon shoe for 3:45 plus, 4 hours plus, and longer. Megablast is an upgrade for me to the Superblast 2. Now, we had Donnie on the channel talking about Megablast and Superblast. I saw on the app last night, he actually said he was going to do Chicago in the Superblast and potentially New York in the Megablast. Both of these shoes are great. Megablast for the 4-hour marathoner who wants stability. Not for me personally, but Megablast, softer, more energetic feel. Superblast, firmer, more stable feel. So that's what it's going to come down to. Do you want that additional firmness? Do you want the additional support? If you are in the 3-hour range, I would 100% not recommend the Superblast. Not that you can't run a 3-hour marathon in it, just the Megablast is the one that feels closer to a race shoe. The Megablast feels a lot faster, quicker, nimbler than the Superblast. So the faster you are, the more that you'll want to go with the Megablast versus the Superblast. I would eliminate the Superblast from consideration once you're under that 4-hour mark. And of course, there are tons of people out there, but just if you are looking for the fastest possible option, I would eliminate the Superblast from contention once you start dipping below the 4-hour mark. And again, anybody can run a marathon in this, but just in terms of what's going to be optimal for speed, because that is the question that we are answering today. Now, another alternative here, Puma MagMax. So similar to the Superblast, this is the one with more stability, slightly firmer feel, less aggressive, not as fast. So same thing as the Superblast. I wouldn't suggest going for the MagMax over the Megablast unless you are 4 hours plus. So this is going to be more comfortable. I don't even want to say better for time on feet, but just feels like it's more optimized for time on feet. If we had to pick one optimal use case of both of these shoes, what is the Megablast best at versus the MagMax best at? Megablast best at running fast, MagMax best at running long. So I would go Megablast for the race or the marathon if you're closer to the 3-hour mark, and MagMax if you're closer to the 4-hour mark. And the MagMax is a lot heavier than the Superblast, but I have found it more comfortable and easier to run in. The geometry is just less choppy. So your mileage may vary with the Superblast versus the MagMax, but in terms of these two shoes, Megablast is the 3-hour or closer to 3-hour shoe. MagMax is the 4-hour shoe. Now, going to the plated shoes. Mach X3. So the Mach X3 is one of the best plastic plated shoes out there. I put it on the top 5 list. This is more of a Sonic Blast or a hyped up Speed 5, a Hyperion Max 3. The reason I wanted to pull for it today is because it has a very smooth, comfortable ride. This might be the most comfortable of the plastic plated shoes. And it's interesting because the last version was not. The last version felt super aggressive. The upper was tight. It had more of this race fit and this race feel, and the only thing they did in this generation was change the upper, but that made a huge difference. It feels so much more relaxed, so much more comfortable. I actually did a 20-mile long run in this at a 8-something pace, so right in that 3-hour range. Megablast versus Mach X3. I honestly think the Megablast can do everything that the Mach X3 can, but the Mach X3 is just maybe slightly more comfortable with the foam under here. So I'd go Megablast for speed, Mach X3 for that long run capability. I also think the Mach X3 is going to stand up better just for training and durability. That's the thing. Both the MagMax and the Superblast are very durable. I think the Megablast is going to be right in that category as well. I mean, we have 150 miles on it right now, and look at this. No signs of slowing down on the rubber, no signs of slowing down on the foam either. Now, if we get into the plated shoes, some other shoes that folks are considering who are in the 3 to 4 hour range, Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. Now, if I were going to race a sub 240 PR attempt, a sub 230 marathon attempt, I would be going for the carbon shoe. I would be going for the Deviate Nitro Elite 3 over the Megablast. The Megablast is fast, but this guy right here is also fast. It has the carbon plate. It has the real deal race foam. The Megablast is not faster than the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. But the question is, where do those benefits start kicking in and some of the trade-offs, right? So the stiffness of a carbon-plated shoe like the Deviate Nitro Elite 3 will be felt, and you do have to be putting down power to activate it. So 315, sub 3, that's really where I would start making that decision here. But the trade-off is no plate in the Megablast, slightly more comfortable feel for the long miles. I went 25 miles in the Megablast, no discomfort at all, and the foam held up really well. So that's going to be the decision. Do you want the additional speed and snap of the carbon-plated shoe, or do you want the additional comfort and the absence of the plate potentially bothering your feet in the Megablast? Now, another shoe that I want to bring out, Adios Pro 4, this is a very soft shoe. So this is actually a much softer shoe, despite it having the carbon rods. It's a much softer shoe than the Megablast. Megablast, slightly firmer feel, but the quickness is there, and the geometry is very similar. Both of these feel great when getting up at the front. Again, of course, you have the rods in here, which reinforces it, but I would say this is a very close matchup, and the stability, and I think stability is almost used as a catch-all feel for how does it feel to land on the back, how does it feel for the ride experience at slower paces. It's not necessarily lateral stability in the Adios Pro 4 that's the issue. It's this softness in the heel and a sinking down feel. I don't get that in the Megablast, and it has a slightly more normal feel. So that's something to think about as well. It's not just the speed of the shoe. Do you want a shoe with a more normal feeling to it that's more similar to a standard everyday running shoe that you'd be using for a lot of your daily miles? This shoe right here, the Deviate Nitro Elite 3, that has it. This has one of the most normal feels of any of the race shoes out there. I would put that closer to the Megablast than the Adios Pro 4. The Adios Pro 4 is a very soft shoe. So if you want soft speed, I would go Adios. Otherwise, if you are looking for that more stable, firmer, normal feel, it would be either of these two. So that's an overview of some of the options out there that I know a lot of the 3 to 4 hour marathoners are considering. To answer our question, though, we are going to go out there, run a fun workout in this thing. Hopefully I can get the legs turning over. I am so tired, but guess what? The mileage train does not stop rolling. All we can do is our best, man. All we can do is our best. Yeah, yesterday I ran 4 miles. The day before I ran 4 miles. This is some of my lowest mileage of the year, at least since the early summer. And I don't feel great. I don't. I just feel tired. Traveling really just kicks my behind. And it's not like this is the thing, it's not like it's a recovery day. So Sunday, I spent 3 hours in cabs, and then I was just sitting all day, and I didn't eat for about 7 hours on Sunday because I was at a stadium at a game for my job, and of course there's not going to be a ton of vegan options, and I could have brought something, but I just didn't plan ahead. So it was my fault, poor planning. So I dinged myself there, and then my sleep's just been jacked up. I don't know, I have lots of reasons to complain. I'm not even trying to complain. I think it's just I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm not in peak condition. I won't even say fitness, but just peak condition. But it is hard to be. We can't be in peak condition all the time. All right, man. Megablast on foot. Yeah, fit and feel of this. So I'm a true 10.5. I get 10.5 in everything out there. And look where my foot comes up on here. Can you see that? Right here. From the side. So I have some room. I'm not banging up against the end or anything, and it doesn't feel too tight now. You can see that there is some, let's zoom in right there. Look at that. You can see there is some space on this upper. It's not completely cinched down on my foot. And then also with the laces, let's zoom out. Yeah, laces, I'm not getting any lace bite, and I think if you were to get lace bite, look at this. Tutorial, how to eliminate lace bite. Loosen. Loosen. You gotta loosen those laces, baby. Look at that. And then you retie. So, yeah, I'm not here to shame anybody for whining about lace bite, because I whine about plenty of things. I've been whining plenty over the past few weeks, but that is how you fix the lace bite. All right, should we get a look at that? One of these numbers. Woo! Some energetic foam. All right, let's go do this workout, man. Oh, man, my GoPro was also dead, so I had to charge it, and we're only on 7%. Megablast is feeling good this morning, though. Also, it's a nice morning.
Yeah, the bounce on these things is just incredible. And I really think these have broken in. I mean, I could run 4 hours in these for sure. It really does have the bounce of a race shoe with the smoothness and comfort of a max cushion cruiser. I planned for this run, 2-mile warm up, and then initially I was gonna do some kilometer repeats, but I don't know. Yeah, now that I'm here today, I'm not quite feeling it. I am just tired. Man, at these paces, it feels so good. 7, 7:30, 8. It's just perfect. Dude, it's hot again. It's gonna be 80 again today. And it's October 7th. Mile 1, 7:43. Trying to survive in the Megablast. Man, I used to thrive in the Megablast. I'm just trying to stay alive in the Megablast. Trying to find a good vibe in the Megablast. It's rough. It's rough. Just a rough patch, man. Just overall, just rough. All right, I'm gonna adjust this because the idea of doing kilometer repeats right now, that just sounds horrible. So I'm gonna do minute on, and maybe around 30 to 45 seconds off. Goal of this was gonna be VO2 max, and to get an effective VO2 max stimulus, you gotta get your heart rate up into a certain zone, which for me is above 180. I just don't know if I could push hard for 3 minutes and get it there. But the idea of pushing for 1 minute sounds doable, so I'm gonna try that. Again, training by vibes. If it feels just miserable, I'll cut. And if I can get 10 of them, that'll be good. If I can get 12 to 15 at the target heart rate zone, that'll be even better. With a few more strides. All right, man, first one, just gotta run hard for a minute. Honestly, uphills are better for these. This is a downhill. It's not what I want. At 1 minute, 4:50 pace. Goal is get the heart rate up and keep it there. So recoveries are gonna be short. Just long enough to be able to go again at the same pace. So 40 seconds. Go. 4 down. Ha. These recoveries are short. 6 down, man, 6 down. Two more. One more. One more. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. For speed workouts, we want minimum effective dosage. What's the least amount of damage we can do so you get the biggest benefit? That's why I kept the recovery short. Dude, 40-second recoveries on VO2 max. That's short. So that's 12 minutes at a sub 5 pace right there. That's really good work. Man, it hasn't been perfect, but I've just been doing everything I can, trying to be smart about it while taking some risks here and there. Like today, it was a risk. It was a risk. I haven't been running a lot of VO2 max pace. Let me cool it down, jog here. Yeah, I haven't been running a lot of VO2 max pace. I don't know how I'm gonna recover from this workout because these are the ones that typically take the longest recovery for me. But I also know that this session, oh gosh, there's 3 dogs chasing me. Yeah, I also know that this session, 12 days out, is gonna give me a good chance at running the time I want to run. So those are really the 3 pillars of coaching: timing, dosing, and risk. So when should we introduce a stimulus? How much of that stimulus do we need at that time? And what level of risk are we comfortable with? And yeah, man, these shoes are just fantastic. It's not an exaggeration. Best shoe ever created. It's not. And being able to do 25-mile long runs, treadmill jogs, recovery runs, tempos, marathon pace. And then today, out here running 450 pace, just feels perfect. These shoes really just feel perfect. No complaints at all. It wasn't too mushy, and it's not too aggressive for cooling down right now. Just a perfect shoe.
That was a solid run, man. Short and sweet. Good workout. 12 by 1 minute at VO2 max pace. Let's see what it's going to give me here today. 7:09 average pace. Look at that beautiful graph. Just all those 1 minute reps right there. My thumb was covering all the 1 minute reps. Average 154 heart rate. Yeah, I maxed out at 188 today. You can see we just got it up there, and that was the goal, get the heart rate up. Let's see, 335 feet of elevation. It's also humid again today. My hat is just completely soaked and still dripping everywhere. I don't know why it's so wet. I think the humidity in the air is just crazy, but working in my favor today because the goal was to get the heart rate up, just crank it and keep it there to get that VO2 max benefit. And the shoes were pretty much perfect for it. And I also think that was probably my best workout in a while. My initial plan going into it was going to be kilometers, but I'm glad I did the 1 minute because the shorter reps let me just pop those legs off the ground, get them firing, and it actually wasn't too bad to hold that 450 pace mechanically. Now aerobically, that's something else. These VO2 max workouts or any workout that's going to be 5K pace or faster is just tough. We get the breathing up, and it was really the last 20 to 30 seconds of each rep, especially in the middle there, super tough. And that's the goal, right? And then also the recoveries were brutal. I think the recoveries almost hurt more than the reps, because in the reps I was just focusing and driving, but the recoveries, it's, oh man, I feel terrible right now. I can barely catch my breath. I look down and when you click off your watch, the split thing, it will show you your split. It stays up there for 10 seconds. So by the time it's gone, I'm already at 11, 12 seconds into the recovery, and I know I need to go in 28 seconds. So brutal, man, but we got it done. Just throwing everything that I can at this block right now, trying to be smart, trying to grind through it. Another solid day of work in the books. Man, I was feeling good at this 5 flat 450 pace this morning. It got me thinking I should cancel my marathon next week and just run a 5K instead, because my legs were popping off the ground. I got more than enough mileage to run a fast 5K. It is painful though. But yeah, let me answer this question. Hold on, let me make sure we get our little thumbnail here. Bang! Let me answer this question right off the bat. Is the Megablast a viable race shoe? Is it a shoe you should use for your sub 4 marathon, your sub 340 marathon, your sub 3 marathon? It is a resounding yes. This is 100% a viable race shoe, but maybe not for the reasons that you are thinking. So we can throw up this workout today. What I did was a 12 by 1 minute at VO2 max. Now, I was actually looking at my Strava and my Garmin and looking on all the heart rate data, and it's funny, Strava, based on my maximum heart rate, Strava thinks I didn't get into the VO2 max zone at all and that I was in threshold. And this is the funny thing about the heart rate zones. First of all, the way that the different companies set them up, it's all a guess. Everyone's going to have a different percentage of their max that corresponds to their lactate threshold. Everyone's going to have a different percentage of their max that corresponds to what they could hold for a 3-hour marathon or a 3:30 marathon. And then if you mix in, okay, somebody's a 4-hour marathoner versus a 3-hour marathoner, your marathon pace heart rate is going to be a lot faster. How experienced you are as a runner can correlate with how high you can hold of a heart rate. The more experienced you are, the higher percentage of max you will be able to hold for either something like a lactate threshold or a marathon pace, both relative to pace and fitness and not. So there's a lot that goes into the heart rate. For me, I was just simple. The goal today was to get it above 180. I know that my lactate threshold heart rate is typically around 179, 180. When I'm doing threshold workouts, I'll usually get there, maybe high 170s, and sometimes it will bleed into marathon pace, especially now because my paces are just so close. Marathon pace versus threshold is a lot closer than it used to be. So today, 180s, that is not marathon pace, that is not threshold, that is closer to VO2 max. And also just thinking about the pace that I need to hit to get it there, 5 flat or faster. So that was the goal today, get up to 5 flat, 450, get the heart rate cranked, hold it up there. And with these VO2 max sessions, you can get a big aerobic boost from doing just a little bit, from getting the dosing and the timing right. So that was the goal of today. I want to get my oxygen uptake higher, make the body more efficient at processing oxygen closer to this race. You don't need a big VO2 max stimulus to do that. So 12 minutes of hard running, probably got into the 180 plus heart rate range for, I don't know, I didn't check the exact data, but a good portion of that. I accomplished the goal of the workout, and this shoe was fantastic for it. It is a very capable shoe. There was not one single step during that workout that I felt the shoe was holding me back. And that is the exact reason why this is a viable race shoe. It's not that it's so fast or so aggressive or so lightweight. It's that it just works. And for a race shoe, particularly for the marathon, that's what you want. There are so many variables. As I have seen in my own training over the past month, there are so many variables that can knock you off from getting your goal. And if it comes down to the shoe being what holds you back from getting your PR, nearly everything went perfect. Now, I'm not saying you can go run a PR in any shoe, or you should. You shouldn't just take a 1080 and go try to run a marathon PR in that if you have the choice, right? Because it isn't going to be as fast, but because this does have the requisite speed, and because this is as light, it's not going to slow you down. It has the comfort. I think someone's doing tree demolition. You can't hear it, but I can. There's a woman over there walking around with a mask. That's how I should be, man. I should have just been masked up for the past month. I probably could have avoided a lot of sicknesses. But yeah, so much goes into the marathon in particular, and the goal of the race is for your splits not to look like this. I'm gonna throw up 2 different workouts. So I'm gonna throw up right here, 16-mile tempo I did last week. This is the classic marathon pacing disaster that you see for a lot of people if you go out too hard, or you haven't done enough long runs, or you just succumb to the demands of the marathon. The marathon is really hard, and this is the danger of running the marathon. It's really hard to hold on, and so to avoid a splits looking like this, it comes down to training, it comes down to preparation, it comes down to race day strategy, and very little to do with the shoe. Matter of fact, if you go out for the marathon in a slower shoe than is the absolute fastest out there, you have less of a chance of this happening because you're not going to be pushing as hard. I've actually found that sometimes with the Fast R3s and the Alpha Flies, I have to hold myself back. I have to rein myself in. When I had this terribly paced workout last week, I was in the Alpha Fly and I hit a 5:28 on the 2nd mile, and I said, whoa, Nelly, let's rein it in there. So I slowed it down to 5:30 and 5:40. So that's the danger of the marathon, right? That is the worst case scenario for pacing and when we're going out for a PR. And a shoe like this isn't going to hurt you when it comes to that. So what I'm trying to say is this has so much of what you could want, so much capability for the marathon, and it's going to give you 95, maybe even 98% of what a carbon shoe could do, or for some people 100% of what a carbon shoe could do. I really do think this is just as fast as some carbon shoes, and comparing this to the Rocket X3 or maybe even the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, I might prefer this as a race shoe over those. So it can stack up, plus it's going to be comfortable. And I just think the biggest thing when it comes to race day, especially for a 340 marathon or even a sub 3 marathon, I think sub 245, sub 240 is where it really starts shifting. And I've noticed a huge shift at this sub 230 pace where it's more about being aggressive and attacking in this very fast pace. But at the marathon times, they're in the 3s, in the 4s. It's more about endurance and just hanging on, and it's less about going out hard and fast. You can't run hard and fast for 3.5, 4 hours. It's an endurance battle. That's what the marathon is. It's grinding it out. And so having a shoe like this that's just going to be with you for the war of attrition is all you need. And yes, the carbon shoes can still help you hit those paces, but I really think putting in the work during training is going to be way more valuable than whatever shoe. So if you feel comfortable running race pace in this, if it works for you, then I would 100% go for this for the sub 3, for the sub 340, for the sub 4. Let me throw up one more workout. This is the workout I did, 14-mile tempo in the Fast R3, and the pacing was a lot cleaner, right? So when it comes to something like this, if we are 100% confident, or we can never be 100% confident, if we're 95% confident that we're going to be strong, that we're going to be fit, that we're going to go out there and attack for the duration of the 26.2, that's when it would make more sense to me to go for a shoe like the Fast R3 or the Alpha Fly over the Megablast. Because those optimizations, what happens on the margin when we're trying to get that 1%, 2% extra, you have to have the strength and you have to have the endurance for that even to matter. For something like a 4-hour marathon, wearing the Fast R3 just doesn't make sense. I personally wouldn't use it if I were doing a 4-hour race. If I were doing a road ultra that would take me about 4 hours, say I were doing a 50K or a 40-mile race or something, I would be going for the Megablast. Something like a 50-mile race, I would be going for the Megablast if I were going to be out there for 4 or 5 hours, because it's more about just hanging on in the endurance. So that's how I would look at it. If you feel confident that for you, the marathon is not an endurance question, but a speed question, then go for the fast carbon shoe. But if the marathon for you is still an endurance question and an endurance challenge, I would go for the Megablast. Now, the other thing is thinking about not marathon distance, 5Ks, 10Ks. It is really a similar thing. This is such a fast shoe that it's just right on those margins. If you're having a great day and you're sure that you can sustain your maximum running speed for the entirety of a race, then yeah, the Fast R3 is going to give you more than this. But man, I really think that a lot of the racing comes down to the preparation. And even for a 5K or 10K, for most people out there, this is going to be more than enough speed, man. It has the horsepower and it has the torque. And yeah, today's workout just validated it. 12 by 1 minute, all at a 450 pace. This is 450 pace, plenty fast enough, man. Plenty fast enough. I knew that, but this was the first time where I came into it doing a structured workout that I typically would have done in a carbon shoe. And yeah, the performance was just absolutely fantastic. So I'm still learning new things about this shoe. 160 miles in, it's just a complete banger, and it's now broken in more. I do think it's softened up, and I felt that it was less stiff and less firm today, but I was also putting some more juice into it. Yeah, overall, fantastic shoe, man. I do have to say, so I know I was giving people a hard time for having soft feet or whatever. The upper issue, I did have a little bit of that toe sensation, the big toe in the front, but I also think I need to cut my toenails, so it could come down to that as well. Let's take a look at the rubber coverage now that we're 165 miles in here. I mean, dude, pretty dang good. Let's take a look at the other one. This is my highest wear area. That's why I'm showing this, the back side here, what would be the lateral side on the heel. Pretty dang good. 4-foot rubber. This is where I was gripping and ripping today. Yeah, you can actually see 4-foot rubber is getting worn down some on my power spot right here. This is where I really drive off the ground for these workouts. Yeah, there is some wear there. So this is an area that's gonna get torn up when I'm doing speed workouts. So I think that's why we see it getting some wear from today. Let's see on the other one. Yeah, and the exposed foam is getting somewhere, but I mean, that's to be expected for 160 miles. But overall, in fantastic shape for 160 miles. It looks, I mean, if I give it another wipe down, it will look brand new. Hanging on really well. The foam doesn't feel like it's fatiguing at all. So that's the other thing, thinking about the marathon. Not only do you want a shoe that you can just get out there and run that will help you hang on, you want something that's going to be able to stand up well for the entirety of the run. And I've found that that's something that the carbon plates can help with, because the reason why we add the carbon plates in there is so that we can have more foam. Now, World Athletics says we can only have 40 millimeters in the back of a shoe for a race time to be certified. If you're a pro, you don't need to worry about that with the Megablast. Yes, it's technically an illegal shoe. Nobody cares if you're a hobby jogger. It's not going to make any difference. But even without having the plate here, it stands up really well. You get a lot of foam under there. It doesn't get too mushy. Again, I did a 25-mile long run in it. I think after that, I did a 15-mile treadmill run the next morning. So it was 40 miles in 24 hours. It stood up really well. It's just been able to do anything that I've asked of it. So yeah, just fantastic shoe. Great for the marathon. It could do 5K, 10K. I mean, if you're running 420, 5K pace, I have no idea because I haven't run that. And I've done some strides in the 3s in this. But yeah, this was a fast workout today. It can handle the fastest of the fast. It can handle the longest of the long. 100% a viable race shoe. Great alternative if you don't want carbon, and just as fast as some of the carbon shoes out there. And it's hard to tell. There's so many variables that go into what makes a shoe faster or more efficient, and the only way to really tell is to do a treadmill lab test where you get all hooked up and they get your oxygen intake and your heart rate, and you run the same set of speed in both shoes. That's one way to do it. But man, I've come out here on the roads and just through the blood, sweat, and mileage tested so many shoes, and I really feel that this, through my personal experience, is just as fast as some of the carbon shoes out there. And again, it just comes down so much to how we're feeling on that day. What's our mood? What's the temperature? There's so many variables outside of the shoes that this is a shoe that's going to give you the chance to run just as fast of a time as a lot of the carbon shoes out there. So yeah, go for the Fast R3 if you want the absolute demon time rip roar fastest ride out there. But this is a great one if you want a blend of comfort and speed. And also, if you don't want to buy a $250 race shoe on top of your daily shoe. If you're looking for one shoe to rule them all, boom, this is it right there. So I think that's all I have for you today. The mileage and recovery train continues to roll. We are back in the hill. Yeah, I got decisions to make now. I still got decisions to make. I was saying earlier, life is about survival, life is also about decisions. I think those are the two things, right? And sometimes your decisions can impact your survival. And to survive, you have to make the right decision. So it's decisions time. Today I decided to just come out here and be a savage and go for this workout, even though I wasn't 100% feeling it. And this is what I was saying out there. I did want to say this one last thing here about the coaching aspect. And when I say coaching, if you're a self-coach, that's about what workouts to run and when to run them and how to sequence them. So the three things to think about are timing, dosing, and risk. So what is the correct timing for a stimulus? What is the correct timing for a VO2 max workout? What's the correct timing during the week for a certain workout? Do we run on Tuesday or Wednesday? Dosing, how much of it? So my initial plan in my head today was 5 by 1 kilometer at VO2 max, but coming into this today, I didn't feel 100%, man. I just feel so fatigued from the travel, and this has been the story of the last month. I'm just trying to hang on. I'm just trying to fight, and so I'm really proud of this workout today. Just being able to come out here and run at a 450 pace, or 5 flat pace for 12 minutes, not feeling 100%, that's a great workout, great execution right there. So making the adjustment this morning to change the dosing, instead of doing 5 by 1 kilometers, doing 12 by 1 minute. And 12 by 1 minute at a 450 pace roughly would correspond to 2 and change. So did slightly less than the 5 kilometer, 2 and change miles. So probably around 4 kilometers. I could look at the exact distance. Not important. Regardless, I slightly shrunk the amount of volume that I was doing, but I kept the intensity there and I modified the recovery. So if I were going to do a 5 by 1 kilometer, I would have had the recovery be 90 seconds or something like that, or a minute. But because I was doing the 1 minute, I did a 40-second recovery, which was so short. And I actually saw this article that Matt Fitzgerald wrote on Runner's World about this magic VO2 max workout. That's what inspired me to do this. I think the way that this article had it set up was something like 45 seconds on, 45 seconds off for 30 minutes, something crazy like that. You'll have to look it up. It was a cool article, and the whole theory of this VO2 max workout designed this way that this person did was so that you could get the maximum benefit, the maximum aerobic stimulus, with the lowest impact in recovery time. So with the shorter working reps, you're not getting as fatigued, and then the recoveries allow you to recover and thrash. That's the whole point of breaking things up versus doing, if I did a 2.5 mile tempo at VO2 max pace, I mean, that's an all-out race effort. And in marathon fitness right now, even doing 1 mile at a 450 is a pretty tough ask, but being able to break it up allows you to do more. So that was the theory of today, breaking up the work to do more of it, keep the heart rate elevated higher while reducing the volume. So it's almost opposite to how I would typically think, or how we typically think, right? We want to go low heart rate for as long as possible. That's the whole theory of long, slow distance. And mileage, no, today was I want my heart rate to be high, but I want the minimum time on feet as possible, because each second I'm spending at VO2 max pace is increased injury risk. That's increased a lot higher risk of something going wrong than just coming out here for a jog. It's more stress on the body, and not even just the injury risk, it's adding another hour to recovery time, adding another day to recovery time. So that's the whole thing with dosing. What is the minimum effective dosage of this speed work I can get to get a desired adaptation? And the desired adaptation for me is now I'm raising my ceiling. I talk a lot about raising the floor. That's what we do through the mileage. Each mile we run, that allows us to spend more time out there at marathon pace, versus today I'm raising my ceiling, potentially being able to run a second or two faster at the same heart rate because my aerobic capacity is more. And then the third element that I was talking about out there with coaching and being self-coached is risk. So just understanding, yeah, it is a risk to do a VO2 max workout. These are the riskiest types of sessions. The impact is the hardest, other than sprinting, but the impact is the hardest, especially if you're an older runner or you've been doing it for 15 or 20 years. Doing any of these ground and pound style workouts are gonna put more stress on the body. And I do want to do a threshold session later this week, so there's the risk of just, am I going to be recovered in time? But I am okay with that. It's about taking smart risks, and I'm feeling like my fitness is right on the line with my goal. And I know that my last month of training wasn't great because it was just so disrupted. So doing something like I did today, it's not like I can make up for missing 2 to 3 interval and repetition sessions, which would have gotten me a better threshold in VO2 max stimulus, but I can do some to get me closer to where I want to be. So that was the theory with today. And then hopefully also mechanically threshold pace will feel better when I do that threshold workout. Hopefully it will feel slower relative, because now I just spent 12 minutes at a much faster pace than threshold. Threshold for me is anywhere from, if I'm feeling good, 5 teens to 5:30. Let's call it 5:15 to 5:30. So hopefully by spending 12 minutes at a 4:50 to 5 flat pace, when I slow it down to 5:25, 5:23, it will feel mechanically smoother. So yeah, that was the theory with today. And then at this pace, I am just popping off the front, and I'm basically only forefoot striking. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention. It feels really easy to get up on the toe here, and this rocker just makes it so smooth to get up on here, and it's just so energetic, and it's 100% distraction free at those paces. With some shoes, I'm thinking particularly of the Rocket X3. I remember running marathon pace in that this summer and just feeling like it was so hard to get up on the forefoot and so hard to get into the mechanics that I wanted. It almost had this gummy sensation. I felt like the plate was distracting because they did the lateral bump out. They had the carbon sticking out of the side near the toes. Versus this one, I'm not thinking about that at all. It's very easy to get at the front. So again, with these workouts, thinking about timing, dosing, risk, all these elements that are going into coaching yourself to a successful workout, we also want to eliminate the distractions and just get something on foot that works. And so that was the other theory with this today. I wanted to reduce my recovery time. I didn't want the fastest possible shoe for this workout because we think, yeah, it's VO2 max, we're going to be running fast, but the point of this workout wasn't to run fast. The point was to get the heart rate into a certain area. So I could have done this in the More V5 for all I cared. Now that wouldn't have allowed me to get into the speed mechanics that I wanted, but with this, it allows me to get up on the front and run with those speed mechanics and just feels a whole lot less aggressive. The Fast R3 or the Streak Fly, those really tear up my calves. I wasn't feeling as beat up running in this. So even if this is 1 or 2 or 3 seconds per mile slower than the Fast R3, that's okay for a workout like today because it's not actually about the speed of the reps, but about the physiological stress and getting the heart rate up. So that's why I went for a more comfort-oriented shoe. Hopefully, again, the risk of this workout, hopefully I reduced the risk of the recovery time being long by picking this shoe as well. So that was a fun one. Nerding out on some of the science for you all. Yeah, we're going to continue the grind. I said I was done, and then I talked for about 5 or 6 more minutes. I think that's how it usually goes, though. I'm actually done now. I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Pull up in an orange shirt. They say nothing rhymes with orange. I can make it work. Eating porridge with the fork. I'm in the forest with the dorks. Like trail running in the forest with the dorks. If I lose, I'm a poor sport. I ran out of gels. I need more torque. Are we off the orange rhyme? Is that a slant rhyme? I think that's a slant rhyme. Orange short. Orange short. More torque.